And a good Monday evening to you. I am First Alert Meteorologist David Ernst here at WBAY, and we are talking about this prolonged September heat wave. High temperatures today well into the 80s, and we are going to continue with that warm weather through the rest of this week. Now, I think that we're coming out of the hottest of the stretch. We hit 88 degrees yesterday. I believe 89 was the high temperature today in Green Bay. So we should be trending a little bit cooler through the middle part of the week, looking at highs generally running in the middle 80s tomorrow, maybe a couple upper 80s, and then for Wednesday through Saturday, low to mid 80s to be expected. At times in this stretch, it will still feel humid. Not as bad as it was on Sunday. Sunday, likely the muggiest day that we will see over the next week, so we're already doing better in that regard. Dry weather as well, continuing for most of the week. If you're watching this on the WBAY TV2 Facebook page, you can also head to my Facebook page. You can find me at David Ernst, WBAY Meteorologist, and follow me there. If you do not already have our free WBAY First Alert weather app on your mobile device, I would encourage you to download that. I've got the QR code beneath my video here that will take you to the splash page to download that. You've got interactive radar in there. You can get lightning alerts and severe weather alerts sent right to your phone. Of course, the interactive radar is going to come in handy when we have rain in the forecast. There's not too much of it in the short term here, but as we get into the weekend, it does appear that the pattern will turn a bit more unsettled, although it's still, at least at this time, difficult to pin down exactly when the greatest rain chances will be around. Looking back at today, here are the high temperatures. 89 for Green Bay, tied with Waupaca as the hot spot on the map. Appleton, 88, 87, Oshkosh, and Pembine also 89 degrees, so it was a warm one for sure. Since I've got the graphic right here, we'll take a look and check the low temperatures this morning. And most of us were in the mid to upper 50s. Appleton a little warmer than most at 64 degrees for your low temperature. So I would expect a similar night tonight. A lot of mid 50s to lower 60s is generally where we're going to end up for that nighttime low. There has not been too much going on overhead today in terms of cloud cover, and I would anticipate that remains the case tonight. We do have some high clouds drifting overhead right now. We will be seeing those kind of thin out. We've got the full moon tonight, so that is a mitigating factor, but is the potential that you could see the northern lights, especially if you can get away from some city lights and avoid that city light pollution. You may catch a view if your eyes have time to adjust. Again, the moon is definitely going to be a factor, and perhaps not the greatest viewing conditions because of the full moon. But I was Brad texted me and said the KP index is up to 7. So typically when it gets that high, we do see the northern lights in northeastern Wisconsin. So if you're at all curious, head on out, take a look late tonight, and again, give your eyes time to adjust and you may catch a view. We will be looking for a lot of sunshine over the next couple of days. Let's go ahead and we'll start out with current temperatures and then get into the forecast with First Alert Pinpoint Predictor. We show you the sky conditions tomorrow and into the rest of the week, and then we'll go over temperature trends as well. So currently, this is where we stand. Some low 70s still out there, but Green Bay down to 64, 60 degrees in Oconto. In fact, that 64 in Green Bay is one of the cooler readings that we've got in the area. Looks like we're down to 63 in Sheboygan. So we'll take a look at the dew point here. I imagine that some of that is going to be a function of humidity, where we see the lower dew points, temperatures typically will drop faster, but not a big difference between Appleton and Green Bay, upper 50s. You see Wautoma in there at 64, Manitowoc at 64. It's I think I did see a little bit of reduced visibility on the graphic for Manitowoc, which makes sense if you're looking at an air temperature of 64 and a dew point of 64. If there's a little bit of light wind around, that can certainly lead to a little bit of fog. So that is something that we could see later on tonight. Let me go ahead and see if I can find a visibility graphic here, and we'll pull that into the show. Just to take a look and see if that is still the case. I know when I looked earlier, it looked like it was around a quarter of a mile visibility. So here is the northeastern Wisconsin visibility map, and most areas don't have any fog whatsoever. Skies are totally clear, but yes, we are down at a quarter of a mile for Manitowoc at the airport, not necessarily right along the lake shore. In fact, I can pull up my sky camera that I have there in Manitowoc. Wind chill. So here's the the current view right along the Lake Michigan shoreline, and I don't see any issues with this. But again, you get closer to the airport, and there is the potential for that fog right along I-43. So be mindful of that. Could be an issue in spots late tonight. It's not going to be a widespread common problem that everybody sees. But when we have that wind staying up and the temperature and the dew point are matched up pretty closely together, you could get some patchy fog in there. So looking ahead, first alert pinpoint predictor, as we go through the night, those high clouds linger. And then as we get into Tuesday morning and beyond, we see those clouds kind of thin out and looking at lots of sunshine during the day on Tuesday. Winds generally out of a southeasterly direction, speeds up around 5-10 miles per hour. So nothing too strong there. It'd be just enough that it does keep temperatures a little bit cooler along the lake shore simply because of that onshore flow. Water temperatures there in Lake Michigan generally starting to fall into the 60s or at least in the lower 70s. And so you will be looking at cooler conditions right there lakeside in the afternoon anytime there's that easterly component to the wind here in the summer and early fall. Temperatures tonight generally settling, as I mentioned off the top, mid-50s to around 60 degrees for a nighttime low. So, you know, maybe a degree or two off from where you were last night, plus or minus. But in general, those temperatures are a solid 5 or 10 degrees above average for this time of year. And then we get even more so above that average as we head into the afternoon hours. I'd look for highs to be degree or 2, 3 cooler than they were today. So I don't know that we get quite close to 90, but still middle 80s is much warmer than you would anticipate for the middle of September. Average high this time of year would be 72, so we will be well above that by a solid 10 or 15 degrees. Now we'll go ahead and take a look here at the extended forecast. And actually what we'll do instead is I will show you the two different model solutions that I've got into the extended, and then we'll just kind of discuss what we're seeing. So we'll pick it up here, the American GFS, as we go through. I don't know why the model isn't animating. Let's take a look here. I might be set to the model run for today at 12Z, which hasn't happened yet. That'll be in the morning. That's exactly what it is. Today, 2 p.m. Yeah. So let me dial things back here just a second. So we'll set it to 12Z yesterday. 12Z yesterday. All right. And then while we're at it, let's go ahead and do the same thing to the European weather model. Nancy, I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. Always happy to hear some kind words. Sometimes the feedback is not so positive, but I appreciate that. So let me get set here. Okay, that's on latest run. Global is on latest. Okay, we should be good. Well, let me just change something just to change it just so they're next to each other for tomorrow. I was just talking to myself there. I will reference these graphics when I am putting my forecast together, and they show up in my scene window down at the bottom of the screen, and it's easier for me if the two graphics are side by side, and if I update one and don't update the other, all of a sudden they become separated, and it just takes me longer to find them the next day. So you see here the American GFS does develop a system across the area as we get into Thursday night, Friday, and you'll see a similar scenario on the European side of things. Now the difference here is that the GFS kind of just keeps this system lingering overhead, and so you just have these continuous looking rain chances if the GFS were to come to fruition. Now obviously we'll be monitoring things as we get closer to this, and if we see a little bit of consistency on guidance, we might bump that rain chance up over the weekend. But you'll notice that it keeps the rain around really Friday through Monday. Essentially, given how dry it has been, a lot of times when you get these dry patterns, it can be very difficult to break yourself out of it. And so I think that guidance might be a little too optimistic in terms of getting that rain and keeping it in for as long as it does. Now you'll see here on the European weather model, a similar scenario playing out as we go through Wednesday, Thursday, nothing happening locally. You see a little cluster of storms there to our west developing Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, and then some of that surges into the area for Friday morning. And here again, I think the model might be kind of keeping things around a little too long, overdoing it just a touch. That little wave moves on. And then I am going more closely with the American, the European on my forecast, in that keeping Saturday dry with some cloud cover hanging around, and then on Sunday you see the clouds move back in. Now, I'm kind of blending the two models here. When you'll see my forecast, we are kind of in an up in the air, wait and see type of a scenario, in that I don't have high confidence in either one of these models handling things this weekend. So what I'm going with is a stray shower with what you saw on Friday, keeping Saturday dry, and then I'm putting that chance in for Sunday just in case this storm system that we're seeing here. Both models kind of show it. GFS is certainly farther east and faster than the American or than the European model is here. So kind of just hedging my bets and putting that chance in early on Sunday, and then continuing it into Monday when you see the bulk of the rain come through. And even though it's not on the forecast, just because we cut ours off at 7 days, likely that I'll continue that rain chance on into Tuesday. If we see a little bit more consistency, probably start bumping those rain chances up. Right now I'm just going with a 10% on Friday, 20% on Sunday and Monday. We start to get a little more confidence in there, you see those bump up to 30, 40, 50, and so on as we get a little bit closer to that part of the forecast coming in. What I am more confident on are the temperatures, and we are going to see those temperatures stay warm throughout the extended forecast here, even as we cool back down into the 70s. We're still going to be above average. Normal high again is lower 70s. Today it was 73. Actually, maybe not. Let me. I might have toggled it to that back when it was a little bit higher. So the way the average works, I get it off of the climate report, and it will report the average high for today. But obviously, I can look ahead and see what the average is for tomorrow, and so a lot of times I will manually adjust it down a degree when it drops for tomorrow. So today, for instance, it is 72. Tomorrow it is 72 degrees as well, but eventually it's going to go to 71, and my climate report will still show 72 the night before, so I'll go ahead and change it manually to 71 degrees just to be as accurate as possible as we get into the next day. But it really doesn't matter too much. You're talking about a degree of difference here, and we are well above that average. Looking at the extended forecast tomorrow, middle 80s and continuing with low to mid 80s at least through Saturday, and then above average temperatures there on Sunday. So we're coming up on 9:30 at this point. I need to get some video cut for the 24/7 Weather Channel, and we've got Action 2 News coming up here in about a half an hour, so hopefully I will see you then. I'll leave you with the extended forecast here. You'll notice that the first day of fall is on the board, and not that temperatures will be feeling very fall-like as we begin the season, but we do at least see the 80s kind of go away. Remains to be seen if we're done with them for good. Probably not, just the way the summer has gone. It's been a warm one, but not crazy hot. But I would say that we're probably not done with the 80s even after this week. So again, most of the week will be dry, featuring plenty of sunshine during the afternoons. We will certainly stay warm. Humidity will be lower tomorrow and Wednesday, and then it does start to creep back up Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as that next weather maker comes in. I'll have an update on Action 2 News at 10 o'clock. We'll see if there's any new model data to go over for the 10 o'clock show, and if I don't see you there, well, Chief Meteorologist Steve Balon will be in dark and early at this point at 4:30 in the morning, and then I'll be back tomorrow afternoon. Hope you have a great rest of the night and a good Tuesday.